Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I want you to go right now to 538, okay? Great website when it comes to polls and graphs and looking at everything in aggregate. Looking how Bernie Sanders and Biden and Bloomberg and Buttigieg and Warren and Klobuchar and Steyer all compare with one another. Okay. There is zero support for Bloomberg throughout the country. I don't care what the polls say. There's absolutely zero support. He knows this. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. Have you ever seen a fixed boxing match? Have you ever seen a fight, an MMA fight or a boxing match, or any type of, they did take performance enhancements during the 90s, okay, in performance-enhancing narcotics during the 90s in baseball, all right? I want to be careful with my words. It's YouTube. Who knows what sets off, So, anyway, things are rigged. We already know in 2016 the Democratic primary was fixed. We already know sometimes there are sporting events that are fixed. If you're a sports fan, very, very rarely you'll have a sporting event that's fixed. This is fixed. This is rigged. This is not, there's in no way, shape, or form is this happening in an organic, ethical, pristine manner. They don't care about winning. They would make a lot more money losing with Clinton than winning with Bernie. Okay? They make a lot more money. I can go into that. But who's ahead in Georgia? Okay. Democrats in Georgia. February 16th. Okay. Who's ahead in Georgia? Go look at the 538 /polls /president dash primary. You can just look. Who's ahead in Georgia? Biden, 26.7%. His campaign's done. Okay. His voters are not going to go to Sanders. Bernie's at 17.9%. Bloomberg's at 17.8%. Okay. Bernie doesn't win Nevada or doesn't win South Carolina. That number will come tumbling down. Bloomberg is going to surpass Bernie Sanders in a lot of these southern states. Why? Because he has the money to do so. Number one. Number two, Democrats in southern states are more conservative, a lot more conservative than Democrats in Vermont or New York or California. Okay. Number three, Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. She's running through Bloomberg, through Biden, through Klobuchar, through Warren, through Mayor Pete. She doesn't have to run. Other people are running for her. So this is not difficult to understand. Even a Democrat can understand this, but they can't possibly get this. My message is respectful to all Bernie voters because I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post in 2016. And I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post in 2016. Now I'm voting for President Trump. Great president. If you're a Bernie voter, he's not your adversary. The Democratic Party is your adversary. But whatever. You can believe what you want to believe. Okay? You can believe that suddenly they'll give you a fair primary when they didn't in 2016. But here, now, December 22nd, Bloomberg was at 8%. Biden was at 35%. Now Bloomberg's at 17%. Biden's at 26%. Bernie's at 17%. Bloomberg and Bernie are tied in Georgia. The whole thing's nonsense anyway. These polls, the aggregate of all these polls are public relations tools. But Georgia, okay, let's go throughout the South. North Carolina. Let's go to North Carolina. Okay, North Carolina. Biden is at 21%. Bernie's at 20%. Bloomberg's at 18%. Okay, in December 26th, Bloomberg was at 8%. How did he go from 8 to 18%? Because Biden's campaign is done, and Democrats need a vehicle to cheat Bernie Sanders. Bernie is almost certainly a part of the charade. Bernie Sanders is just going to funnel votes back into the Democratic Party and say, you know what, This is a revolution, but, keep, at least you got to vote Democrat because you know what? Trump is horrendous with his record low unemployment and record low Black and Latino unemployment. Okay, so North Carolina, Biden is at 21%, Bernie at 20%, Bloomberg at 18%. All right, how did Bloomberg almost tie Bernie in North Carolina and Georgia? All right, how did that happen, ladies and gentlemen? How did that happen, ladies and gentlemen? How did that happen? Bloomberg is leading in Arkansas, according to this the poll here. In there's not a graph, but it's one of the polls that they have in 538. Okay. Now, South Carolina. This is really interesting. How is Steyer at 12.4% and Bernie is at 18%? And Biden is at 25% still. Who do you think those Biden voters are going to go to? You think they're going to go to Bernie? No, they're not. They're going to go either to Bloomberg or Steyer. South Carolina, you'll see 2 billionaires in Bernie. That'll be pretty much a snapshot of how rigged this election is for Democrats. Trump's going to run, he's going to easily defeat Clinton. Hillary Clinton's going to be nominee. This thing is a charade. It's completely rigged, and it's not that difficult to see. There have been rigged boxing matches, rigged sporting events. There have been points taken off, because people have been paid off in basketball games or football games. It happens. It doesn't happen every day, but it happens. With Democrats, it happens all the time. So I just showed you Georgia. I just showed you North Carolina and South Carolina. Bernie Sanders is very likely going to either tie or get overtaken by 2 billionaires, Steyer and Bloomberg. It's right here, 18.4% and then 12.4% for Steyer. How on earth is he at 12.4%? You mean to tell me there are more Democrats who like Steyer than Tulsi Gabbard in South Carolina? Well, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard's at like 1.5% in South Carolina. The whole thing is completely and utterly fixed. Completely and utterly fixed. Now you have Bernie in Nevada at 24%. Well, Biden's at 15.9%. But Bloomberg is at 8.4%. Mayor Pete's at 10%. So who do you think the Biden voters are going to go to? Warren is at 11%. Who do you think all of these people are going to vote? Bernie might win Nevada, or he might lose Nevada, or he might win Nevada and get less delegates. Then there's the issue of pledged delegates. Which they're not legally bound. Mississippi, 47% Biden. Well, that Biden's campaign's done. So, but you have. This is really, really, really hilarious. In Ohio, you get a lot of delegates in Ohio under this rigged system. Bernie's at 24%. Guess who's at 19%? Biden. Guess who's at 18.9%? Bloomberg. You mean to tell me that Bernie's going to win Ohio and get more delegates than Biden or than Bloomberg or Mayor Pete? The whole thing is rigged beyond belief. It's not just southern states, the Midwest also. All the biggest states are going to go, they're going to be so spread out, and Bernie's going to get cheated with the delegates. So it's like, this whole thing is nonsense. This whole thing is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. The whole thing is the definition of a rigged primary. So in Ohio, Biden and Bloomberg are right with Sanders. Okay, let's look at Pennsylvania. So Bernie is at 19%, Biden's at 18%, Bloomberg's at 16%. Bernie doesn't stand a chance in this primary. The longer this thing goes, the longer all of this is just going to be Biden at 33% in Tennessee. So throughout the South, Bernie's going to get just worked. Just worked. Virginia, Biden at 21%, Mayor Pete at 12%, Bernie's right in the middle at 19%. And Bloomberg's not even on here. So, I mean, you have a situation where all they needed to do was have the semblance of some kind of contest. And that was enough for the masses. That would be enough for Florida. Here, Biden, Bloomberg, Bernie is third. I mean, just like, you got to win these big states if you think you're going to. But even if he were to win, he would still get cheated. Even if he were to win, he would still get cheated because he'd get less delegates, just like he did in New Hampshire. He got the same amount of delegates. The delegates are only pledged in name only. They're not legally bound. They're not legally bound. Bernie bros, I was the biggest Bernie bro. They called me the poster child for Bernie. I can tell you right now, they're not going to vote Trump like I did, most of them, and they're not going to. They're just going to vote Democrat. They're not. Bernie or bust is done. Bernie or bust was done when I left and became a Trump supporter. There is no Bernie or bust because they would get. I would have tremendous respect for people if they were Bernie or bust. But you know what? They can do what they like to do. Florida, Bernie's not going to win that. Now, California is interesting. California Sanders at 27%. Yeah, but Bloomberg's at 13%. So how did that happen? In December, Biden was at 20%. Bloomberg was at 4%. How on earth is Bloomberg at 13%? So California is going to be an interesting one. You had this all of this is so easy to look and to see like how this plays out. It's so easy. New York, Biden is at 30%. Biden. But you know what? One would think Bloomberg would defeat Bernie there, even though you would think you say New York's so liberal or progressive or whatever. Now Texas is interesting too. Texas, Bernie's at 21%. Biden is at 18, Bloomberg's at 17, Warren at 9. So they're going to overtake Bernie there. Tell me where Bernie's going to win aside from possibly Nevada. The whole thing's nonsense anyway. I'm speaking about this as if these polls, like the polls are public relations tools, but like they're not a good indication of what's going to happen. They're just primarily public relations tools. That's why you looked at polls in 2016, they were wrong. You looked at polls even before Iowa, they were wrong. Because it doesn't matter if Bernie were to win, because he did win the popular vote in Iowa, but not by 7 points, not by 7 or 10 points. He was up by a lot. He won the popular vote and got less delegates. He won New Hampshire and still got the same amount of delegates. In all of the states I just mentioned, those are big states for the Democratic nominee. Now, when Bloomberg and Steyer and Warren and Biden and Bernie, then they all have, hundreds of delegates each. Okay. Who do you think is going to unite the Democratic Party, a tent, a coalition of a bunch of despicable, maniacal, rabbit-frothing at the mouth liberals. Who do you think is going to unite all these wonderful, beautiful people? Do you think that Bloomberg will? Do you think that an older man will, or a woman who Russia cheated? You do the math. Of course Hillary Clinton's going to win. Clinton is going to win. You can go through all of this right here. New Jersey, Biden at 18, Bloomberg at 17, Bernie at 23. Bernie's only ahead barely right now because he actually has a functioning campaign. Believe it or not, he has a good campaign. He has people who love him. Fine. But it's not enough. Loving Bernie Sanders is not enough to prevent him from being cheated because he's almost certainly part of everything. That's the issue here. It's kind of like, you're giving your allegiance to somebody who has no plans to take on anything. You can look right here. Let's see. Indiana. Most of these states have Biden or Bloomberg. Biden, Bloomberg, or Mayor Pete, right in the mix. Right in the mix. With Warren taking just enough away from Bernie. This is like they're all like joining forces just to take delegates and just to take momentum, delegates, wins, whatever, away from Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's pretty much you're pretty much slowly watching Missouri. It says Biden's up 25, but that'll go to Bloomberg or Steyer. Look, what happens in Georgia? Biden's up, Sanders at 17, Bloomberg's at 17.8. Bernie's at 17.9 in Georgia. Bloomberg's at 17.8. South Carolina will be interesting, but that's like the last southern state that Bernie has a chance in. But here, South Carolina, Biden's still at 25. Steyer's at 12.4. So who do you think Biden voters are going to go to when they realize his campaign is completely and utterly done, cooked? Done. Bernie's at 18 in South Carolina. South Carolina is one of the most conservative states in the country. Bloomberg's at 9, but he basically his hundreds of millions are paying off. That's the thing. Like Bernie Sanders talked about the billionaire class. Trump was outspent. He didn't spend more. He was outspent. Okay? Trump was outspent 2-1. 1.2 billion to 600 million. Bloomberg is outspending his opponents by an exponential sum. Okay? So Trump was outspent 2-1. Yeah, he's a billionaire, but he won when he technically should not have won. Okay? The 538 has a great, a whole, interactive graph. Well, all of this, you can see all of this take place. This is like so easy to understand. It's almost like, it's interesting. It's almost like people can't, they can't believe that Madam Secretary would get all of these people to run for president knowing they're not going to win, all so she could become president. Like, that's too bizarre for them. Surely if Bloomberg, who said that he wasn't going to run because he knew he couldn't win, surely if he's going to, and Biden, who basically got impeached himself, they tried to impeach Trump, he was impeached, him and his son. Like, this is a political machine. The political machine, you think they're going to tell you exactly what they're doing? They're doing it in plain sight. They're just not giving you the note that they're cheating. Klobuchar will take votes away from Biden, but Klobuchar depends. I mean, I think that Klobuchar did well in New Hampshire and did well in Iowa. But it'll be interesting. Like, she'll get delegates, she'll give them to Clinton. Bloomberg will get a whole bunch of delegates, he'll give them to Clinton. Steyer will get a whole bunch of delegates, he'll give them to Clinton. These delegates are pledged. If a candidate drops out or decides to, you know what, I can't unify the party, their whole thing is, their political party is like a giant cult. It's like Jonestown without the punch. Maybe they will have punch, heaven forbid. But anyway, it's like Jonestown. It's like a giant cult. Their whole thing is about party unity. They even sell shirts. Unify. Unity. Party unity. They don't care about Bernie Sanders because they don't care about Bernie Sanders because they don't care about Bernie Sanders because progressives are not, they don't run the Democratic Party. You know how much money they're going to make with Clinton? Do you know, like, my channel is going to increase a lot too. Like, and I will be like 1/1,000,000th of like NBC, MSNBC, CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times, Fox. You know, all the publications around Clinton that make their living pumping Democratic Party nonsense. I'll be the only person on the planet telling you what's taking place, and I will have been the only person on the planet telling you what's taking place every single day. So both of my channels, H.A. Goodman's other channel, this channel, H.A. Goodman, they're gonna increase. But what happens with I'll benefit big time when Clinton becomes nominee, because I'll be the only person on the planet saying it, long before Bannon. But they're gonna make a ton of money, and they know it. Do you think they would make just as much money? Do you know how much money CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times and all the subsidiaries, NBC, ABC, CBS, do you know how much money they're going to make when Clinton jumps in? And this is going to be the reality show of all reality shows. Thank you, Eric H526. Thank you. This is going to be the reality show of all reality shows. They make money off of Trump. This is how smart they are. They could have won with Bernie Sanders in 2016, but how lucrative is Medicare for all, Green New Deal legislation? First of all, it's not feasible, but let's say it were feasible. How lucrative would it be? How much money you think they'd make off trying to remove student debt from people? But how much money do you think they make insulting Trump? They make a tremendous amount of money. And it's all going to come crashing down. Politically, they have sold their soul to the Democratic Party machine. The Democratic Party machine is, it's a political machine. It's a political machine that runs off of public relations and graft. And it's a legal type of graft. It's a legal type of graft. I'm not saying this exactly is graft, but Bernie Sanders says, I have a small favor to ask you. Please go ahead and give $1. We have a revolution like you've never seen before. What a revolution. You have no idea. This revolution is so amazing. Oh, what a revolution. You've never seen this revolution. The French Revolution was like Disneyland compared to this revolution. You have never seen a revolution more than this. We have a revolution. Give $1. Everything's good. No problem. And this revolution, it's a political revolution. Okay. Give $1. I have a message to you. You can give $1. Okay, you can't afford $1. Okay, we're trying to fight the billionaire class. We need money to fight the billionaire class. We're taking money out of politics. Money out of politics. Money out of politics. Money out of politics. We're taking it out. Give $1. And then what do you think happens to that money? What do you think happens to that money that he's not using? It goes to the Democratic Party. The money he's not using goes to the Democratic Party. So there you go. The money he's not using goes to the Democratic Party. What do you think about the money that Biden and Klobuchar and Steyer? Well, they're putting money in Bloomberg's. What about Warren and Biden and Klobuchar and Mayor Pete? The money that they're not using for their campaigns goes back to the Democratic Party. But then they get hooked up with book deals. So, Linman, thank you. Then they get hooked up with book deals. Then they get hooked up with media time. You play ball, you get hooked up. Think about how lucrative it is to lose to Madam Secretary. You're set for life. You're set for life. Okay? Think about how lucrative it is. Okay? Donnie Chappelle! If Bloomberg wins presidency with Hillary as vice, Bloomberg... Donnie Chappelle! Better get a food taster. Yes, Donnie. With the wonderful super chat and also the laugh. Thank you so very much. Yes. Get that taster. Definitely don't eat the blowfish, because if not served properly, it is poisonous. Let's see, first of all, Hillary is going to be president. I mean, chas v'shalom. No, Trump's going to be president, obviously. Hillary is going to be nominee, Democratic nominee, but blowfish, poison. Okay, so if you go ahead, the intestines of the fogu fish contain a poison called tetrodotoxin. Oh my God, which is 1,000 times deadlier than cyanide. Oh my God. Oh my God. And they serve this. Also, oh my God. Fogu, don't eat the... Okay, Japanese officials warn. Oh my God. Officials in the central Japanese city of Gamarogi are warning residents not to eat the fogu from a local supermarket after potentially deadly parts of the fish were inadvertently sold. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The fish known in Japan as fogu is a highly prized delicacy, both as sashimi as an ingredient in soup. But the fish's liver, ovaries, and skin contain the poison tetrodotoxin, and the parts must be removed by specifically trained and licensed preparers. There's also no known antidote to the poison. Oh my God. Fogos for lunch. If no, this is unbelievable. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Trump removing Americans from removing Americans. President Trump, first president to step foot in North Korea, begin détente between North and South Korea. All the actual Bill Kristol, Max Boot can't stand Trump. They're voting for Clinton. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why. It's interesting that Bernie voted for Clinton, pushed for Clinton, and Bernie voted for Clinton, and also Max Boot and Bill Kristol and Robert Kagan voted for Clinton. Isn't that interesting? Wow. That's funny how that happens. Yeah. That's really funny. Oh my God. Oh my God. President Trump is reversing. That's why when he removed Americans from a hotspot, I want to get into it on YouTube, but Democrats are like, it has to be an orderly withdrawal. Oh my God. What's he doing? This is terrible. It's horrible. It's terrible. It's horrible. They make a lot of money. So, Donnie Chappelle, thank you. Donnie Chappelle, thank you. Teresa King! Bernie has as much of a chance to win as Joe Lieberman had years ago. Absolutely zilch. Exactly. Teresa King, Donnie Chappelle, thank you. If you look at every single day, the closer this gets, like people don't want to believe that I was right all the time, all along. People don't want to believe this because they can't believe it, because then they're like, what? You mean Madam Secretary is what? No, what? No. Oh my God, no. What? Oh my God. Bug. Okay. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. After Nevada and South, when it gets to Super Tuesday, we'll see that Madam Secretary is the only force in the universe that could unify the wonderful Democratic Party. They're so wonderful. They're so great. They're so amazing. The only person who could unify the amazing Democratic Party is Madam Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Let's just see what Twitter is saying. Twitter. Thank God I am not on Twitter. I am not on Twitter. Not on Twitter. Not on Twitter. I am not on Twitter. But I have parody accounts that are kind of hilarious. I want to see what are they saying? What are all the smart people saying on Twitter regarding All right, let's see. Let's just type in Bernie Sanders. Hashtag Bernie Sanders. Oh, Real James Woods, he's awesome. The DNC will do anything in its power to stop Bernie Sanders. He will never be allowed to cross the finish line. No way. He never will be. They changed the debate rules recently. Now, the interesting thing is that Democrats are going after Bernie Sanders a lot more than Trump voters. A lot more. A lot more. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. Thank you so very, very much to my super chat. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be back tomorrow, of course. God bless. Have a great, great evening. What can I tell you? They're cheating Bernie Sanders. I gave you the evidence. And that's just 1/100th of everything they're going to do. Give me your thoughts below. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin. Thank you. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Thank you.